my name is Manju and I'm from India. I'm going to tell you how my father forced me to marry a physically repulsive man and how I'm hoping to deal with the situation. For a girl from an Indian family, finding a husband is paramount. A girl is an extra mouth to feed, so her father needs to downsize his family. Typically, he's also hoping to find new connections and opportunities via the bridegroom's parents. I used to feel like a commodity at my parents' disposal. Dad saw virtually every young man he met as a potential suitor for me. He was insufferable at times, but I couldn't disobey him, so I had to deal with it. When I came of age, I was looking forward to getting married. I spent nights imagining my future husband. He was always physically attractive in my mind. I mean, has anyone ever dreamt of an ugly husband? I would imagine him entering our house and myself smiling sheepishly in anticipation of our wedding day. Our family was poor. We struggled to make ends meet. My father had to work multiple odd jobs to feed all of us. He would often bring up the subject of my marriage, casually at first. Apparently, it was time to make up my mind as I was becoming a burden to him. He hinted pointedly that I shouldn't turn up my nose at profitable marriage opportunities. Then one day, Dad came home full of visible joy and excitement. He told us at the dinner table that he'd found a new job and his boss is from the USA. He described him as a charismatic man from across the world, very smart and well-educated as well as quite wealthy, which was obviously the decider. Now that my father was working for him, our lives would change. I tensed up immediately. There was something Dad wasn't saying. I was right. Next week, Dad called me in for the big conversation. He said we were incredibly lucky because his new employer had a son of my age named Rudy. I learned that my father had shown Rudy my photos on his smartphone, and the young man was besotted with me. I was to meet him and let on that I was interested in him. Okay, so it was time to toss my dreams away and accept what my father had in store for me. At least Rudy's family was rich, that was a relief, and I didn't rule out the possibility of actually liking him. He was from America after all. This alone made him exceptional in my eyes. Incidentally, Dad didn't mention my future husband's appearance at all. I figured this Rudy must be a regular-looking guy. Surely I'd get used to him, right? We were introduced to each other a few weeks later. I picked my prettiest sari and braided my hair. I really wanted my rich suitor to like me. We couldn't wait for the guests to arrive. In fact, I was always fond of Caucasian features. My point is, I really expected to see an attractive man. Not a moment too soon, we heard their car outside. My father ordered me to go to another room. I could hear my mom welcoming them into our home. Then I heard a plate breaking and my dad whispering angrily. Then there was a silence that felt ominous. After a few minutes, they called for me. I was all eyes, but my betrothed was standing with his back to me. When his father told him to turn around, oh no! I don't want to seem rude, but his face was probably the scariest sight I'd ever seen in my life. Even though I'd been hoping for the best but expecting the worst, he was much uglier than I could have imagined. I wanted to say something, anything, but I choked on my words. There was a minute of awkward silence, which let me have a closer look at him. The awful man was bald, with huge bulging eyes and an extremely short head. You know how some people have an oblong face? Well, his face shape was the exact opposite. It looked flattened and disturbingly disproportionate. All in all, his facial features were truly horrifying. There was no way I'd get used to this. His bulging eyes were darting all over my body with devious glee. It was obvious he liked what he saw. His smile was repulsive, almost as white as his face. But when he opened his mouth, it looked so shockingly awful that his closed mouth looked perfect in comparison. I ran to my father, but he grabbed my elbow so hard it hurt and led me to my betrothed. I wanted to scream in despair, but I knew my fate had been sealed. I had to do it for my family. I feel disgusted when I remember our wedding and my husband's slobbery kisses. After the wedding, my dad told me how much it had cost, $20,000, an astronomical amount of money. Sure, the celebration was magnificent. I looked like a fairy tale beauty with the beast by my side. Except, unlike the fairy tale, my husband's personality was as nasty as his appearance. We have been married for 6 months now. I've been doing my best to adjust to my new life. I try to look on the bright side, emphasizing the advantages and ignoring the disadvantages, but it's getting harder every time. I don't think I can handle it for much longer. My husband's temper is so bad I'm thinking about escaping the house. Ideally, I'm hoping to leave India. I'd like to hop a freight train as I cannot cross the border legally. My husband doesn't allow me to get a passport. He probably suspects I'll elope as soon as I save up a little money. Well, if he leaves me no other option, I guess I'll have to take the illegal route. I wish parents stopped adhering to inhumane traditions like the one we have in India. Please, don't make your daughters marry men who are repulsive to them. My mom tells me this is just how things are done in our country. She says I should accept my fate like she has accepted hers. My dad isn't the nicest person to deal with either, but she's managed somehow. I feel pathetic. Please leave a comment if you have an idea what I should do. Who knows? Someone might come up with an amazing escape plan that I can use. Would you like to see more episodes? Support us by hitting like and subscribe. If you want to see your story in one of our videos, send it to this email address.